You all, we are not licensed professionals. We are just here on this roller coaster called life, trying to be better friends to one another, trying to be better human beings on this planet. If you're tuning in, we are not opting out of therapy. We are not advocating that you listen to us and not see someone who is licensed and trained to help you with day-to-day life on how to cope and deal. So we advocate for therapy a lot here. We believe that everyone has something to talk to somebody about. So, just like to make that disclaimer that we're just here giving our opinions and having discussions week by week. And we're hoping that, maybe you can find something useful, or if at least find a little humor in this terrible, terrible rock we call the world.
In other words, if you listen to our advice and you get popped in the mouth, don't at us.
Yeah, don't at me because you may get popped in the mouth again.
Welcome back to another episode of the Friendship University podcast. The podcast we come on here and we really literally spill our guts in hopes that it will encourage you to be better, because we are being better every single day, and you too can be better every single day. It's about progress over perfection. Progression over perfection, because perfection doesn't exist. So we are just here, and I am joined by my lovely co-host, and yet again, the Tarrah Cobell, not to be confused with cobblestones, because you can look at the name and it's not cobble. It's two B's in cobble, one in cobble. How you doing?
I'm doing really well.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm still yet tired. It's just maybe it's the season.
You need a vacation.
I do, and I will be taking one very soon in this later this summer, and I'll tell you all more about that later. But the internet's weird, so I won't give you too much information right now. But you'll be hearing about that a little later in the year, about a vacation that I have planned that I'm very excited for. I am going to literally do nothing. I'm not taking a laptop. Where we're going is adults only. No disrespect to the people with children, but sometimes I just don't want to hear a baby crying. It's not my life yet. I will be there eventually. I will be someone's mother, and I will have a family, and I'll have to deal with that. But I'm going on vacation as a single adult, and I just want to be around other adults without their children. So,
keyword
excited.
Single. She's single, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are
Don't do the
a
matchmaker.
great guy.
Are you doing the matchmaker? Are we doing the balloon thing? Let me just go on a tangent real quick, because I hate those balloon
Man, I love
challenges.
that show.
You like
I
them?
love it.
The balloon
I love
challenges?
it.
The way they pop the balloons?
Okay, here's the
I like
thing.
Love
They are not all
Island.
correct.
Love Island and all
No.
those, but the balloon challenges
No.
are out of control, in my opinion. I don't like them.
But they're not all the same. All the shows are not all the same. They're different creators. So there's one that they're like mature couple that has a balloon challenge, and it's like the girl. And I like that show. They're like a
tell me more. You mean
couple.
like they're a couple, and what are they popping the balloon to though?
So the couple is the one that has the show, and then the lady in the couple, she's the host. And so they have like real people, not like rappers and randoms and like scripters. Like it's like real people that are trying to get a date. So it's interesting
I think we're
to see
talking
that.
about two different things, because I too enjoy. We have binged Love Island. We was invested.
No, I'm not talking about Love Live. I'm not talking about
So
Love
you're
Live.
talking about
I'm talking about the
it's a
balloon show
where they come on and they pop. What are they popping the balloon for then? They're just mature.
No. No, you're not understanding.
I'm
So
not.
there are multiple there are multiple balloon shows. It's not just one creator.
Right.
It's several creators that's making these balloon shows. One of the creators is a couple. They're a
Okay.
married couple. And so their particular balloon show is like way better than all the other ones because it's like real people with a real normal jobs that are really trying to find a real date. And so it's like normal stuff. Like he's like, I'm a plumber and I'm a this and it's just interesting. So I like that particular balloon show, but I don't like all of the balloon shows.
Maybe you should send me that. The one I saw was regular people. It wasn't rappers or anything. This man was a security IT analyst. He does fraud analyzations. So he was very normal, very real. And I just feel like that kind of interaction can cause unwarranted trauma. Yes, these people are willingly going on these shows, but you think about it in the sense of like a balloon is already kind of triggering for people. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's like permeating. A lot of people kind of have phobias of balloons a little bit because whether a balloon popped in their face when they were younger. So it's just like going on that show and just hearing pop, 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 pop. It's just like, what is happening? Why?
Yes, that's what makes it entertaining. That's why it's entertaining.
No, I feel like sometimes it's really unwarranted. Like I just watched, so I don't normally watch the shows, but I saw a clip because a comedian that I follow reposted the clip and did a Stitch video to it, and that's how I saw the clip. And this really nice guy like had all these balloons pop, 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 pop. Like a majority of the girls popped the balloons, and one girl was just like, I just popped my balloon because I don't like your name. I was just like, what am I supposed to do about my name? You know, I didn't even name myself. This is my actual name on my birth certificate.
That's
so
wild.
it is just like, I've never though been I really don't like watching embarrassment and stuff. Like, I don't like watching fighting. I don't like watching people hurt themselves. I don't like that kind of stuff. Like when World Star was big, I tried to stay away from those videos as much as possible. At that time, I was doing a lot more journalism work, so I had to be a little bit more involved in it. But I literally only watched the videos that I had to. Cause I don't know if it's something internal. I was just like, I can't see that. Like, you are entitled to feel how you feel, for sure. You have your desires and your standards and different things that you're looking for, but I feel like maybe that mature one is a little different because they're a little bit more mature, they're older,
they're a little bit more
they're
mature.
serious, they're like
they're
really looking, they're looking outside of the ones that I've seen, because I've seen several variations of this balloon show where it's like unnecessarily popping up, like y'all are really just trying to become viral at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you have a valid point. But it doesn't change it from being entertaining to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think I just like to see personalities interact. That's very like a real personalities. It's like, oh, I met someone like that before. You know what I'm saying? And see how they interact with one another.
So maybe that's
I've
why I said I think
the
show you're watching probably does that, because the other shows with the younger kids,
not the younger
not doing
ones.
that.
No, not the younger ones. They're like turn around, and then it's like, okay, you can come on. That's pass or yeah or no, well, all that type of stuff. But no, this one is a lot more mature. But it's interesting. I always love to see shows that the human dynamics, human interaction. That's just interesting to me. I was a psych major, sociology major. I just think it's interesting.
I like the human interaction too. It's a little, for me, it's a little cringe. I'm like, when I be seeing people like for no reason, y'all just popping these balloons. I'm like, maybe I just need to watch that older one.
And it does show how shallow some people can be. Like, oh, I
we're
just
a
didn't
shallow
like his shoes.
nation. We're a shallow world.
100%. I didn't like his shoes, or I didn't like.
Somebody literally said, I didn't like your outfit. You had a flannel on and it's hot as hell outside. Why do you have a flannel on?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. It's like some people, it's just like, I think the older you get, the more you understand that like those are little things that can be changed. Like stop, unless it's like, have you seen the wife effect? It's like you have the black wife effect, and then you have like the after marriage effect. It's just like how the men glow up and they dress better, their skin looks better, they just look better after they get married. It's just like that's how, a lot of times there are things that you can do as a person's partner to help them look a little better or just present themselves a little better. Not that you're going
Absolutely.
into it trying to change people, but if they need a little support in the style area, but everything else is good, girl, that's something you could change. Those are just some very small things.
It's not even, it's changing, but it's, if we think about the most dynamic relationships that we remember with people who are, whether still in our life or not, they taught us something. They upgrade us. They upgraded us in a way that we just didn't look at the world before. Whether it's you encountered someone who knew about skincare, you didn't, and they taught you, or they knew about moisturizing this, or they knew about cooking, or how to do this and how to do, like, we revere those, even if it ended badly, even if they're no longer in your life, whether it ended good or bad. You still revere those as memorable interactions because they taught you something different than what you already had in your life. And I think a good partnership, a good friendship, anything is about a mutual teaching that happens. You feel like there are interactions where even after 5, 10+ years, you're still learning from this person. This person is still learning from you. And so I appreciate that. I watch this other stuff with those young kids who,
Yeah, not the
I
young kids.
hate to sound like an auntie, but mama's an auntie, right? So they just be outrageously, and it's so funny because the clip that I saw, there were 8 or 9 girls. Let's say there were 9. 8 of them popped the balloon, and only one didn't. And she did look totally different from the rest of them. Like, all of them had these like really kind of party dresses on with like these strappy heels, things that you would probably see on Fashion Nova, different things like that. And she had jeans on with like a really nice regular top and some wedges with this curly hair. She didn't pop the balloon on the guy. And they had a really good conversation. And they ended up matching and, going on a date or whatever. And you could visibly see some of the girls kind of regretting popping the balloon as he talked more and as he like poured a little bit more of himself out talking to her. And I'm just like, sometimes we don't understand that standing out really is the method to getting to where we want to go. It's so easy to blend in and be a part of the magnitude, but there's a reason it's harder to take that lesser taken traveled fork in the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just reminds me of when you're young, you just look for totally different things. You
Yeah,
just
you're
are
looking at somebody's dress.
shallow.
Yeah.
You're looking at how they dress. You're looking for if they got quote unquote swag, if they got flavor, if they got riz, whatever, whatever. All those silly things that we look at as children and as really young people. But as you get older, you realize that the hot guys in high school were really like, okay, so it's like cool guys that are attractive and these cool guys and they know they cool and blah, 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 blah. You want those guys as a young person. But as you get to be an adult, you're like, that is not husband material. Husband material is, I'm not looking for swag and all of that as a husband, as
I'm
a
not too
partner,
cool to care.
right, like as a partner. You don't want someone that's so cool, they're apathetic, they're mysterious, they're trying to not to be into you or whatever.
You don't want
You want
mystery with a
you
partner.
don't want that. And so what is good now is like the nerdy guys or the guys that were not cool. As you get older, you're like, man, he was really powerful because he stood in his truth and he didn't care about what people thought and all of this. He was just like himself and he wasn't trying to follow all these trends. He was just him. And he got good grades and he was focused and all of those type of guys. That's husband material, but you don't know that as a young person. You're trying to follow somebody, Riz. You're trying to follow someone's, charisma. And as you get older, you realize that those silly things fall flat, and you're like, oh man, what's really important is someone that is committed to their dreams, has integrity, they're secure in
Express
themselves.
their feelings.
They
Aren't
express their
afraid to
feelings.
talk and communicate.
Remember, it's like, he thirsty. He asking. It's like, no, be thirsty as an adult. You're like, no, tell me. So it's just funny to see how, when you're in high school, it's just so different. So those young people,
Even
they're
like
just
in
young.
college and like early 20s and all that, you're just like,
when you're young, you're like swag,
mm-hmm.
flavor. Oh, he know what to say. And then you're older, you're like, he was just being manipulative. So
ooh, you so young and hip to using Riz. My nephews and nieces be texting me and I'm like,
when you work with
what
kids,
are you talking about?
when you work
Riz,
when you work with
RZA,
kids,
Jizza, Wu
charisma,
Tang. We talking
charisma
about the
for
Wu Tang
real.
Clan, Riz, Jiz, RZA.
Yeah, when you work with kids, child, you just gonna know some
You
things.
know what we call charisma? Charm. Doesn't that make
Doesn't
sense?
sound as cool. Doesn't sound
Because
as cool.
charm is in the word.
Riz,
CHAR.
Riz, charisma. Riz.
I get it. I'm just the beboppers are a little different. Yes, you work with the teeny boppers. You be out there really with them, and they love you. They be loving terrible. They be like, Miss Cobo, Miss Cobo.
Miss, hey Miss. They don't even say your name down here. They don't even say your whole name.
Really?
It's
That
Miss.
would
Hey
not fly in the
Miss.
South. But you're kind of Midwest, but they would not fly in the South. In the deep South,
Miss. They just say Miss.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so a couple of things I saw that were really cool. We saw Sha'Carri Richardson. She ran the fastest. She broke the record and has now qualified for the Olympics, right?
I didn't even realize the Olympics was this year.
2024. Yep.
That is
2020.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, where have I been? It's like next month.
Well, I'll
August?
give
Is
you
it
that.
August?
I'll give you that because it was supposed to be in 2020 and it got postponed because of the pandemic. And then they did it later on, but they wanted to keep the same 4-year schedule. So it did come up a little bit faster than we were normal because we kind of like missed a year a little bit.
Okay,
but I think that was really interesting because she's not qualifying for the Olympics. And if you really look on social media, the applause is way quieter than the criticism, right? What happened when she tested positive for the marijuana?
she was the
got
talk of town.
I mean,
on every channel,
headline,
every
everywhere.
headline, everywhere.
And now I was looking at top places that talked about her then that aren't talking about her now, like CNN, MSNBC, all these places. I happened to see, I came across it from, I think it was a black owned publication that I saw it on social media. But yeah, all these top brands, you didn't see it. And it's like, it's just a reminder, right, that sometimes your greatest downfall will be louder than the applause when you get up. Because people like to hear the down story. They like to hear the struggle. But they really don't like the come up out of the struggle as much. Which I feel is kind of weird because wouldn't you be inspired by the come up? Like, she got disqualified. She's been working for now the last 3 or 4 years to get back to this point. And it's kind of like okay, girl.
Okay, good to see you.
Best of luck.
Where was this energy when I was down bad? Where were you guys? Y'all had all eyes on me. Okay, all eyes on me like a Tupac album. And y'all wouldn't. Where was the love? Where was all
Where
this?
is the love?
Where was the support? But now I'm doing well and everybody is quiet as a church mouse. We don't appreciate that. We want be who you need to be. Be consistent. But that's how it is. That's just how it is. But that's why you say, listen, if I have a down moment and I get all this attention, use it. Because in
Is
the
it
up
kind of
moments,
like, does it fall into that alignment with all press is kind of good press, maybe?
yeah, use it. Use it. Flip the script and use it for good. It's kind of like the Jonathan Major situation. It's like he was everywhere. Like when, he got, all the,
The
the
roles and the
charges and all
accolades,
that.
yeah, and then he got
It,
the
and
charges,
then,
yeah.
yeah. And people were so loud about the charges, but now he's doing better and they're not as loud. So,
Yeah,
it's
I haven't
okay.
heard anything about that. Didn't it get dropped? I don't know what happened. All I know is I think I remember seeing something about them getting dropped.
Yeah, no, I think he did get guilty for like a very small charge or something like that, like a misdemeanor or something. But, just when people are going through hard times, it's like everywhere. You can't escape it and all of that. And so just remember, like, those things don't make you who you are
Yeah.
because they just don't. It's just a moment in time. And when the next thing happens, people are going to forget all about that. So
Your
I think
worst
one of
moment
the,
doesn't make you.
no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It may feel like it, but it just really doesn't. So they'll get over it. You're not the first and you're not going to be the last. And they'll just get over it.
That's very true. I think this is a good segue into, I don't know if you watched the Pop Out concert, Ken and Friends, on Amazon Prime.
I
It was
didn't. I
streaming
saw some clips, but I didn't see the whole
on
concert.
Juneteenth. Um,
It looked like they had a time though.
they plus me, because I was actually in my home walking. I ain't gonna say it on here because I don't want to get banned again. TikTok, Jesus. Um,
They not like us. You can't say that.
yeah, I didn't want to say what I was doing, the walk I was doing,
Oh, okay.
but so yes, he played Not Like Us over a variety of times. The crowd went up. So you saw clips. What are your thoughts? We don't really promote hate around here because forgiveness really will open up doors that you've really never seen. But that hate, it really made me think maybe Mary J. Blige was wrong. Maybe we did need hateration in the dancery because it united a great group of people that you never. I mean, 3 sets across the board who like are rival gangs came up on stage. I've always said that there are 2 factors that tie people together and will create
Common
community.
enemy.
Common enemy, hate or love, or common love for someone. The standum, the fandom, different things like that. So the clips that you saw, what were your thoughts on them?
I really am not a good person to ask about this because I have not kept up with the Kendrick beef at all. I just
Good
really
on
don't
you.
know. I really don't know much about any of it. Like, is the song about They Not Like Us? Is it about Drake or
It's a diss track. It was the last diss track that he. So
okay,
there's
it
a
was the last.
sequential of tracks that were released by both
Okay.
parties,
Okay, so it's
and
a diss track.
yeah,
Okay, so I thought it was a empowerment anthem
I
for
mean it
June 9th, for
is.
Juneteenth. I didn't know.
It's
I didn't know.
duality, right? 2 things can exist at once. It is a uplifting power track because he also talks about different elements of how hip hop has evolved in different spectrums and different cultures and in different locations of the world. But at the core, it's haters ball from Dave Chappelle. Hate, 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 Like that
So
is
I cannot support
what
hate,
it is.
but I can support is being authentically yourself and loving yourself. So I don't think we need to necessarily. I mean, it's a diss track, so that's hip hop. Whatever. Listen, I don't know much about it. All I know is they look like they were, enjoying themselves. I
I
did
think
see.
they did.
I did see. What's Kanye daughter name?
West, North, Northwest.
North. I saw North in the crowd. She looked like she was having the time of her life. Um,
I mean, she's probably having time of her life every day, if I'm gonna be honest.
yeah.
But yeah,
But I'm not a good person to ask. I know nothing about
that's
diss
fair.
tracks
I
or
think
any of it.
is yes, we don't support hate around here. I think that track is more so about
It's catchy
hating.
though.
It's Kendrick hating Drake for not being his authentic self. Just be who you are. Like, you fronting, pretty much. It talks about like
Okay,
you
it's talking
really
about you.
are trying to appropriate and do things that really are not you, and you need to stop
Oh,
because you look
okay.
ridiculous to the people who know what this is about. But yeah,
And
that's fair.
Drake will be back up.
He
He's not
already
going
back up.
nowhere.
This is not the end. I don't understand this whole dialogue that's happening where people are like, "Oh, this is the end of somebody's career." Y'all must not know. Maybe y'all young and you don't know what hip hop beef is, and you don't know what diss tracks are. You don't. It doesn't end people's career. Like, you want to take the Pusha T Drake thing and feel like it ended Pusha T's career. It didn't. He had a career before Drake, and he still remained to have a career after Drake on the same trajectory, like, if not greater. So do your history, do your research. If you don't know what hip hop diss and beef is about, it doesn't end careers. Drake came out with a track not too long ago for the summer, and he's going to do his thing. I can almost guarantee you, if Drake decided to go on tour in 10 years, like all the people who have these huge catalogs and all of these fandoms and all of this, if he decided to go on an arena tour like a Nicki Minaj or whatever, he would sell out because he still has fans. He still has people who love his catalog through and through. If you don't even love the entire catalog, I can guarantee you that you love at least 2 albums from Drake. You're gonna go. You're gonna pay your money. And you're gonna be there. So it's hardly the end of his career. But this summer gonna be hot for my boy. I will say that it's gonna be a real blazing summer because they not like us. And it's not going nowhere. Not like us. It's really the summer anthem.
It sounds like it. It does sound like it.
So I'll do a little small, because I be in this world. Help me, Jesus. But I like it. Hip hop. I like it. Drake pretty much said that Kendrick couldn't make a track like this, essentially in one of his disses. Like, you really don't make these bops like I make bops. And so he made the bop of the summer.
Wow. Challenge.
Challenge accepted, pretty
Challenge.
much. It was
Dun, dun, dun. Remember the Cosby Show when they was dancing? He was like, challenge.
You want to know what's funny? I was just watching the Cosby. You remember that episode where Theo wanted that designer shirt?
A Gordon Cartrell.
She made it, and then the pockets was all. I was literally just watching that episode the other day. It was
I
so
love that
freaking
episode.
funny. The
That was
pockets was off,
hilarious.
and the sleeves was like off. And he was like, I can't go out with this. She was like, it looks just the same. I'm so. Listen,
that was some great writing.
So good.
Right? It was such great writing. Like, what a concept. Like, who was in the writer's room when they wrote, yes, so Denise is going to make a shirt and it's going to be messed
parody
up.
of this popular designer that they can't. And it wasn't even that they couldn't afford it. It was more so like, the parents were like, we can afford it. You can't afford it as a child. Yeah. We're not getting you this designer shirt. You're not even doing good in school to be able to like get this. And Denise was like, I can make it. And she was so proud of it. She was like modeling it. She was like model it for the people. That is so. I was watching that episode.
But then he ended up wearing it, and then they liked it.
They liked it. They was like, "Where did you get?" And she was like, see, I told. And then he tried to commission her to make more. She was like, no, my muse is done. I've made what I've made. And I'm moving on to my next artistic piece. That was really good. I really do love the Cosby Show. I'm sorry.
It was some great writing.
It was
Oh my
great.
gosh.
That episode with the sandwich where he's like giving birth. They're like in the delivery room.
That was crazy, yo. I'll never forget that episode. I was like, what am I watching here? He had a bad dream. She told him not to eat that meatball sandwich.
She told him not to eat it. That
a
episode,
hoagie. Them hoagies.
The one with what was his name, Melvin, where Melvin was like, "Oh, you get his coffee," and she was, and Claire was like, "Elvin." She was like, "Let me tell you something, Elvin." Because me and Mr. Husband, we get things for each other because that's what a marriage is. We do things for each other. So I'll get his coffee right now and he'll cook the dinner later and all this stuff.
And don't you ever in your life.
He tried, Cliff tried to tell him, he was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't walk into the trap. And he did it anyway. What great writing. I'm glad we came up I'm glad we came up in the time.
Oh my God, we had the best shows. The 90s had the best shows. Family Matters, The Urkel, like Family Matters, Step by Step, TGI and Friday, Full House.
Day by day. Yes. You want to know something I learned?
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Oh, with Involved singing it. Martin. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. A different world.
Baby, we untouchable. And some of these shows did start in the early 80s, but we really, even like Nickelodeon, like the Hey Arnold, all that. Kenan and Kel. We had Clarissa Explains It All.
Man, we had Famous Jet Jackson.
Jet Jackson, R.I.P.
I wrote to his fan, R.I.P. I wrote to his fan club. I was going to marry him.
Fine. You want to hear me?
Fine.
Capital F in my mind. I said, this is the finest man I've ever seen.
Fine.
He was so fine.
He was chocolate brown skin and had hazel eyes.
He was
He had waves. He had 360 waves, and he was smart.
He was smart, and he was about the good. He had good integrity.
Let me tell you something. He had a girlfriend on the show. And guess what her name was?
Tarrah.
Guess what? Tarrah.
Her name was Tarrah. I remember. This was before I met you, and I already hated that girl named Tarrah. I said, now, why is this woman with my man on this show? I don't like that. I understand it's a job.
Never love nobody on TV like I love Lee Thompson Young. I wrote to his fan club.
I did too.
Like Lee Thompson Young. I don't think I ever sent the letter, but I wrote it.
Oh, I just want you to know. I just want you to know. Mrs. Lee Thompson, thank you very much because you need to hear what I have to say.
That you are the finest boy I ever seen.
I think I put some Kevin lyrics in there if I ain't gonna hold you. I put some kind of lyric. I don't know what song it was. I can't remember.
Baby.
But I know I put some lyrics in there.
Lee Thompson, young. Golly.
That man was fine. And let me tell you something. I'm going to blow your mind, right? So, I actually dated somebody that looked just like him. Like, literally just like him. But he had a bad attitude. And so I really couldn't get into it. He was a cool kid. He was a cool guy.
Lee Thompson Young was
I said, kind. You ain't Lee. And he said, no, fine. I'm not Lee. And I said, well, you supposed to be Lee. And then we broke up.
He was fine and nice. And was saved the day.
And saved the day. And RP.
That dog only. Did y'all ever watch Bug Juice? Remember that camp show on Disney? That was my first taste of reality TV. It's when the kids
I think I know what you're talking about.
The kids went to summer camp. And they was dating each other and all that.
Too. But they was
Was
they
it
I
was
don't
it
think
bug juice?
I don't think they were supposed to be dating each other though. I don't
They was
know.
dating. I
They
was
was
like,
having relationships. People was at the camp table talking about, oh girl, you see your old boy. He was with you
he
last
was
night by the
with
campfire, but he was with old girl doing the tug of war
yup,
earlier.
yup,
So what you gonna do
yup.
about that?
And I
Let
was
me tell
about
you.
it.
Let me tell you something. I will watch a good reality television show. You will never shame me. I'll never hate you, reality TV. Now, some of them, you're out of control. But when I tell you sometimes I just need good, mindless television, I just need to turn the TV on and boop, the
Did you
switch
ever
just goes off.
watch Real World on
Yes,
MTV?
I watched Real World when Tammy was on there, and Tammy told that white man that he had AIDS or something. She said something ridiculous, and she was like, "Oh, you gonna call me the N word? You gonna call me?" Like, no, I was watching. I watched Real World, Road
Okay,
Rules
I remember
Challenge.
Real
I
Rules. I
was
remember Real Rules.
watching
But
all of.
wait. If
I
you a
watched
real
The Hills. I watched
oh,
The
the
Hills.
Hills, the Hills.
That was my show,
That
baby. I
was
said,
that was
you gonna give up Paris for this raggedy Negro? He ain't even cute.
Lauren,
Kristen. And her name was
Lauren
Kristen.
and
I said, girl,
Kristen.
you really ain't doing good, girl.
Lauren and Kristen. But here's the thing: if you could finish this song, then you really is a real world
Let
fan.
me see. Let me see what you about to say. Let me see what you about to say. Because I don't know. You know, Real World got to say. What you about to say? What you about to say? Come on, I don't know if I can finish it because Real World got some songs on it.
Baby, if you can finish this, then you a real world. Come on, be my baby tonight.
Tonight, come on, be my tonight.
I seen the way you treated other thugs you've been with.
You wrong
Come
for
on, be
that.
my
My
baby.
baby. You actually are wrong for that. That is a throwback. We are
Remember dude was in
aging
the
ourselves.
studio? He was in the studio making some music. Yeah, he was saying, come on, be my baby tonight. He was making
Yo, yo, that was like
some music.
that
Come
was
on, be
I
my
when I
baby tonight. I've seen the way you treated other thugs you've been with. Why would you say that? Oh,
yo
woo.
no that
That was New Orleans. That was where
New
Ruthie. That's all.
Orleans.
I only
Oh, that
remember the
girl. What's that girl name? That she met, not Maya. She don't went on to do a whole bunch of stuff after that. Post that. I cannot
bruh.
remember her
So
name,
funny.
but
Remember
she
Boy
did.
Meets World? I used to
Boy
watch Boy
meets
Meets World.
world.
I
Boy
used to watch
meets
Mr.
world.
Feeney. Mr.
Did you
Feeney.
see that that
Sean.
last episode where they left
Topanga.
and they were telling Mr. Feeney what they meant? I cried. Sean was like, nobody's ever cared about me like you've cared about me. You've been more to a father to me than my own father. Oh,
Oh,
God,
that's
this
too
is
much.
great. It was too much. Pete, they was like, we're
No,
missing
okay.
you.
My most emotional moment on television, I'm sorry, it is when Will
And
father left him without telling him, and he had bought that statue,
he was
and he
like,
was like,
this was his hat. And he was like, why you don't want me, man?
well,
And
you
then
don't
Uncle
want
Phil
me.
came in and he was like, took the hat off. He was like, get out of here. Get that hat out of here.
Man, that made me cry. That was an emotional moment. That was
It
like one of
was
the most emotional
emotional.
on
You
the
know, they
on the
said that
show.
was improvised. Will said that he improvised that, and then when they leaned in for the hug, he said, "Now that's acting, son." And he lifted the head.
That was like
He said, "Now that's acting." Mm-hmm.
that was like a movie in one scene. It was like that was
Mm-hmm.
some incredible. Like
It
I
was
felt that. I was like,
crazy
I
when he
feel.
told Uncle Will, "You're not my dad." I was like, "Oh, that is a man." That was an emotional scene because you at that point that was probably like season 2, 3. We had really got accustomed to it being like really like funny. They had some serious moments. Like, I think before that could maybe have been the episode where he got shot for Carlton, or maybe it was after, I can't remember, but we had
when Carlton got shot, that was
when
a good
he got
scene
shot
too.
for Carlton, and then he went he said, I got shot for you, man. I said, you can give me that gun. Put the gun down.
Yeah,
Put the
that was
gun on the bed.
crazy. That was
It
a
was
great
crazy.
scene too.
Yeah.
What about the scene when he took drugs? He took Will drugs and he was
Oh my God,
dancing
at the
on
prom.
table.
And he was like, I can't stop, man. I can't stop. It was crazy. And then Will had to be like, he was like, everybody was like, we don't know what happened. We don't. Carlton was in it. He's, I don't know. I just gotta say, I had some pills, man. I had to stay up. I had basketball practice, and it was finals. And then I remember when that was a drug, Adderall or whatever it was he took.
Yeah,
Now we gotta
people
stop
were
the
really
kids
telling
from
it.
taking the for the
Yeah.
we gotta stop the kids from
Out of
doing
here.
that.
Out of here. One look at that. You done. You are done, yo.
That is
Done.
crazy.
Done.
That is crazy the way the world has just turned like that.
It's synthetic.
Think about
That's
when we were in
synthetic
school, the worst thing you really could do was like roll it up.
Yeah, or
The Mary Jane. Or but to be fair, I'm gonna say this. And that's actually no, it's not funny, but we
like,
don't.
Who saw the old crackheads and was like, I'm gonna do that?
We don't see a lot of new crackheads, right? I feel like early 90s was probably the end of the crack babies, right? I don't think we really see it, but I'm gonna tell you something.
No, we got a lot of people on the street here now. In Dallas, it's incredible.
Well, that's
everywhere.
I was about to say.
I don't know what's happening. I was
about to say, so I don't either. I thought, I didn't know how prominent it still was. Tarrah, when I say literally, this is not a joke. I was on my way home the other day, and I for sure think I saw a crack deal happen. I am almost 99% sure it was crack. So I have to drive through this neighborhood that's getting gentrified, and it's literally like light for light. One light is like new condominiums. They have these stores, and then you go past that next light, which is maybe 1,000, 1,500 feet, and it's like a little bad. It's a bad neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman walked up. I saw her. I was sitting at the light because it's a long light. I saw her walk up, give the man the money. Like, hey, man, I saw the money because I just know these things. Don't ask me how I know. He walked around, went down the steps, came back up, did the dap up. I saw the little bag. And the reason I think it was crack is because it was solid. It was solid rock. I was like, that's not cold. And Sunday, the New Jack City, tearing the people up, breaking up the family, the home, the Ronald Reagan place. And I said, am I in 2024
y'all
seeing
still
an
doing
actual deal?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was so taken aback. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the window like, this really actually cannot be happening right now. Like, y'all saw the old crackheads and thought, yeah, that's what I want to do.
But see, it don't always. They don't start that way. It's like a lot of drugs. People are introduced to drugs through lacing. They take the drug that you do like and lace it with a stronger drug that's going to get you addicted, so that they have a customer for life. You know what I'm saying? There is no integrity with a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no honor amongst thieves.
No honor amongst thieves. Of course, they want you as a customer for life. So it is really, if they know you like a certain drug and then they lace something with that drug, and then now you're hooked and you're coming back to them for more. So it's just like, you can't, the Bible don't say this, but they used to say this little thing. They said, you can't let the devil ride or he gonna want to drive. It's like you don't get to control like a vice, like a nemesis.
The
like
vice,
you think
once it gets in control of you, it's in control.
Like you think you got this little pet situation over here that you can control, And then next thing you know, it's running. It has grown into a beast, you know.
Yeah.
Or remember, like Little Shop of Horrors, he had that little plan, and next thing you know,
Feed
he
me,
was like,
Seymour.
feed me
Feed
all night
me.
long. You know what I'm saying? And it's talking to
Mm-hmm.
you and telling you what to do and how to do it, when to do it. So it's just so sad that that you really cannot. It never starts off that way. You know, even
Mm-hmm.
this new stuff, it looks like candy. It's purposely this THC and these edibles and all of that. If you look at the bag, it look like Skittles. Like if you look at these bags, they look like regular candy. And that's what's messing these kids up. It's like, oh, my friend has some candy. If you saw your friend with some candy, like, give me some candy. It was just like, that's how it was. But now you
Yeah.
can't even ask somebody for candy. You don't know what it is. It could be a edible. It could be, you know, something totally different. When we saw Skittles, it was a free fall. Everybody passing that same bag around.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really do that anymore because
Yeah.
you don't know if somebody got a brownie. Is it a real Rice Krispie treat? Is it a real brownie? Is it real gummy bears, or just some other gummy bears? You gotta really know. And if somebody's trying to be funny,
And they think it's
you kind of
funny,
mess up.
right?
You kind of
But
messed
that's
up.
illegal, first of all. Giving
Yeah.
someone that without their consent is illegal, first of all. So don't do
Yeah.
that. But people think it's funny to do that. I saw this, first of
We're not
all,
gonna talk about what happened to me. We'll just let's save that for another.
one day, one day we will talk about that. That is a story. I don't even want to try to squeeze it into here. Two things about that, right? So I saw this. Atisha Campbell's on a new show on Netflix. I think it's called Act Your Age. I was trying to look it up to see what the name of it was. She's on a new show with what's that lady name? Kim Whitley, who I actually started watching it because Kim Whitley has played like the secondary character in a lot of our growing up, but she's a main character now. And she's not only the main character, they always made her the funny, bigger person. Like she was more heavyweight or whatever, even though she's not big. But they always play that up. But now she's like the in control, sexy one of the show or whatever. And there's an episode that the one of the very first episodes that I watched, I only watched like 3, was Tisha Campbell had this chocolate bar and they was hungry in a limo, and Kim Whitley's like, they're all like, share it, share it. She's like, well, you don't know. And she's trying to tell them, and they keep like, no, share it, share it, share it, share it. And then she shares it, and it's an edible chocolate or whatever. So they just like start tripping out. And they're like, what is in this chocolate? Blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, I tried to tell y'all. But also, too, with that, I saw this clip and I think it's so important. We don't really stress a lot about how um, no means no in every situation. So we talk a lot about consent in sexual interactions or peer-to-peer romanticism, but no really does mean no in every situation. That's also with your friends. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're telling your friends, no, I don't want to do this, no, I don't want to take that, no, I don't want to drink this, and they're trying to, you really need to think about it. Like, there's a fine line between being funny and like pushing people into things versus like, no, you're gonna take this or da 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 da. There's consent that needs to happen across all relationships, I think, for sure.
Yeah, boundaries. It's just about boundaries. Like, if someone says no, you need to respect that. Why do you feel like you get to overstep or bust somebody's boundary? Like, that's like if somebody was to say, don't touch me there, why do you feel
Mm-hmm.
like you have the right to continue to touch them after they told? It's the same thing with their will. If they say, hey, no, I don't want to do that, why do you think you have the right to argue their no down? That's not
Mm-hmm.
acceptable. You have the right to listen and give your feedback. I understand that here are some other information you might want to know, but if that's your final answer, I respect that. Like, why is that a problem? But if someone doesn't understand boundaries and they don't aren't in a position where their boundaries have been respected, they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. They don't know that that's a concept. They think no means find a way to manipulate me. No, that's not what that means. It means no. Now get out of my face.
Period.
That's what my mom used to say.
My
No, I said no.
yeah,
Now get out of my face.
yeah.
And
My
don't.
mom and
And
dad
then
used to
let me
say the
add
same
this
thing.
tag. Let me add this tag. And don't what?
Don't don't come back.
Ask me again.
Oh,
Don't
don't
ask
ask me
me
again. My
again.
mom used to say, and don't come back and ask me again. We're done.
I said no. And don't ask me again.
My mom
Yes,
used to
ma'am.
actually. My mom used to say, if I would try to say something after she said no,
Because
I
I would
said
beg.
no, and same. And I think because I'm the baby of the family, I just got used to doing that. But I would be like, Mama, I want to do this,
Lawyer.
and then she would, yeah, she would double down. She'd be like, "Now I said no, and don't come back and ask me again." And then if I would try to open my mouth to say something, she'd be like, "And where did I put the period?" Right there. We're done. End of discussion. The conversation's over. We're done.
Get out of my and get out.
Get out of
Now
my
get out of my
face.
face.
Get
Now
out of
get
my
out of my
face.
face.
And don't come back. Or I'm pulling the
And
belt
don't
out.
ask me again.
Period.
Did your mama have a demon voice? My mama had a demon voice that used
My
to come
mother
out.
had a mommy, she called it the mommy grip. And she would take this and she would pull like the biggest piece of fat off your body she could, and she would just turn it. She would she would yank us up, and you didn't want the mommy grip to come out. She called it the mommy grip, and I used to be like, okay, I don't want the mommy grip. I'm out.
My my mama had such a sweet voice, but it's a level her voice can go
My
to when
dad,
she get mad.
I don't want to
When
hear
she
that
get
because your
mad,
mother is very sweet. She's a very kind woman. I don't want to hear that voice ever.
my ma'am, when that lady get mad, it is scary.
She
That
talked
voice,
like
you be like,
Tabitha Brown a little bit. Your mama
who,
talked like Tabitha
who,
Brown a little bit.
who is that? But you want to hear something funny? I got the same thing.
I ain't never heard it. Thank God.
Because you ain't never made me that mad. You ain't
Thank
never made me
the
that mad.
Lord.
But baby, it could come out.
I have never heard that demon voice. Now you have been mad with me before when I had that dog, but that's another story.
No,
But the
the
demon voice
demon
didn't come.
voice, the demon voice only come out when you acting ignorant and
I
disrespectful.
don't want to hear it now that I know you
You
have it,
never been
girl. I
disrespectful.
never,
You
I
never
try to
been
be.
disrespectful and ignorant. It's when people are. It is when a situation is downright dog wrong and disrespectful. It is just like absolutely not. But it never comes out.
Wow.
It's like minimal. But
I can
I can
believe
say
that
this
because you
because,
really be
but here's,
calm.
yeah, I'm a very calm person. You know, when I heard it, the last time I heard it, I've heard it maybe like a few times, just a few times, a couple of times. In prayer, I was praying and I was tired of the devil.
Now
I was
I'm not
tired of
mad
it.
at that. I ain't mad at that.
I was tired of
I'm
it.
not mad
I
at
said
that.
I had enough is enough.
I
And
ain't
I
mad
was
you
telling him where to go and how to get
and
there.
how to get there. I'm not mad at
Okay.
that. Bring it out against your enemy. See that that's that hate. See, you would have ran that track back 5 times like Kendrick did because you hate the devil so much. And I would have been
I
like,
said enough
you
is
want to think
enough.
about not like us, like the devil, not like us, like Christians. That's how it is. That's why
You
he had to
not
keep
like
running
us.
it back.
We
Bam, bam,
Adam. You know
bam,
what I'm saying?
bam, bam, bam. Like for real,
Bruh.
you gotta
See,
run it
we
back,
forgiven and you not. That's
and
why
you
you not
not.
like us.
Period. And
Period.
I hate you, and I'll never forgive you, and I'll never love you. I don't get the demon voice, but I do scream. Sometimes I be in prayer, and I will be like,
You
I
like
will
that lady. You like
scream.
that lady on that meme.
I will be like, no, enough. When I've had enough, when I really be at the peak of it, and I be like, oh,
I had enough.
enough,
I had
enough.
enough. I said, what is that from? That sound like my mama. Who
She put
is
that in.
that?
She put that in you when she came in your room. Put that oil on
That
your
God.
forehead. She was like,
It's a
"Let me put
guard.
that
It's
on
like
you."
absolutely. I know. I feel like it's gonna come out when I had kids or somebody try to mess with my kid. It's like I
Like the
know. I
mama
know
lying.
you lying.
I know.
I know you lying. You know. But
Yeah,
you say that
no.
for special people. No,
We didn't. My mom's voice never really changed. I will say my dad. So you say I'm loud. I get it from my dad. My
you
dad is a
are,
very loud person, and
and
I
you
don't
are,
care because I'm gonna always be loud. And that's just who I am. And you either gonna get
and
with the
you are.
program or you gonna keep the train
But
going.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing.
I'm
Let me
loud
tell you. Let
and
me
I'm
tell you something.
proud.
Let me tell let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
What you about to tell me? Because I feel like I'm gonna get loud.
And no,
Whatever you
bring it
about to say.
down.
Don't make me get loud. I don't want to get loud. Don't make me get loud.
I'm not. You're not loud all the time though. It's like.
I mean, if I'm in a library,
But
obviously
here's
I'm
the
not
thing.
screaming.
No. You have like
When I
not
get
a mid.
passionate,
No, it's not
I
a
don't
middle
have a
though.
middle. I don't. I'm
You
either
don't have a
here
middle.
or
You
I'm
either
here.
soft and sweet or here. You don't have like a
Now, don't
middle.
say it like here is
No,
just
you be
angry
loud.
and
No,
I'm
I'm not saying.
loud, but I'm
I'm not.
not
I'm not saying in
forceful or
feeling.
angry.
I'm not saying in
I don't
feeling.
have a
I'm saying
middle.
in
You want to know why I
volume.
don't have a middle? My
You
mother.
have you have a little sweet,
I don't have a
and then
middle.
you have a loud, and it'd be like,
And I'm
bring
loud
it
most of the time.
down, bring it down.
I don't want to bring it down. Maybe
No,
sometimes. Maybe sometimes I like being the. My father was loud. He had a
and
very
your
loud
voice,
voice.
and your voice
It
is very
carried.
loud.
It
It
carried.
carries. It
My
carries.
voice carries. I understand
It
that. I
really
know it.
does. It really
My
does.
father's voice carried. I think it's a Caribbean thing. My nana's voice carried. It is just loud. We
It's
are
very strong
loud. It's
and
like
loud.
it's almost comparable. Kind of. This could be a race thing. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. No, we can keep that because when the Dominicans get loud, it's spicy. But when we get loud, we just aggressive. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't. But that is. But Caribbean people, we're loud. We're just loud people. We
Mm-hmm.
are expressive and passionate. We just talk with our bodies and our
Mm-hmm.
voices. And my father was loud, but let me tell you something. When my father's voice got low and mellow,
You in
you
trouble.
was in trouble, and you was we would tremble. I literally, my body would shake.
You
He would be
ready to
like,
be?
he would say, "Kristen, come in here," and I'd be like, "I don't want to, but I didn't mean it. I didn't do it. It wasn't me." When he would tell you to come in there to talk to you, and his voice was very calm and mellow,
Now
baby,
you
it
finna
was
get it.
like
You
you
finna
about to
get it.
get it. You about to
Mm.
get it, and baby, you don't want it. That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
So,
My
if you
father's
ever,
voice carries like that too. But
if
his,
yeah, if
you
I
can
ever
hear him
talk
across the
low,
street.
you could, yeah, your dad. Well, I don't remember
My
your dad being that
dad,
loud.
nah. When my dad would yell, baby, you can hear him across the street. Our neighbors be like, y'all got in trouble last night? We heard y'all. Across the street, a double street.
And y'all had a basement. So why would you mean you heard them across? So if they heard you across the street, the people on your next to your brownstone had to be like, "Oh, they done did it. Them Cobra kids that got in trouble again. When they
Y'all
gonna
got in
learn?
trouble. We heard y'all, daddy.
When are they gonna learn?"
My daddy had a voice like Martin Luther King. It had timbres and timbre, and I'm talking about that thing.
It had its own like little background orchestra.
Baby.
It had a 5-piece quartet on the back of it. Like, where them symbols come from?
I may not get to the promised land with you, daddy.
Your daddy do have a very authoritative dictatorial voice, like a very like, I'm on a mission and we're
Yeah,
gonna get to that mission. I think it comes with that
baby.
smarts when you wise like that. You just really be talking like, mm.
You talking about
That's
just
funny. Not
just
they knew
just
across the
whoop
street you got
me.
in trouble. That's crazy.
Whoop me. Whoop me. Don't yell at me. Whoop me. I can't handle it.
That would hurt more to me when I would get like fussed at. My head
Whoop
would
me. Whoop me. Don't fuss
my
at me.
head. So I didn't. So
I'd
and I'm
rather you
not saying
foot
this.
me.
I'm not saying this as though I was a great child growing up. I wasn't bad. But my parents were tired. I mean, we had a lot of kids, and they were older when they had me. I was unexpected. My mother had her tubes tied. She thought that she could no longer have children.
Wow.
So I came because the Lord was like, "Boo! The world needs a little Kristen." So she didn't expect. So they were tired. So I didn't get a lot of whoopings. I got 2 whoopings my entire childhood, and I can recall both of them, like actual whoopings. Now I got popped. And at 16, I got busted in the mouth. And that was the last time I talked crazy. Actually, I was 14 going on 15. I got busted in my mouth and I never talked crazy to my mother again. But
I got busted in the mouth too.
I got busted in the mouth. I came down them steps. I was running down the steps talking cash mess. I don't know who I thought I was. I don't know what I had been watching. The serpent had gotten my head. And I came around that corner and my mother, whop, whop, whop. It was like Kendrick. She whopped me right in my face. And I said, well, now I know. But I didn't get a lot of whoopings, but that talking down to, that it only took one time for you to say you was disappointed in me. And my whole world would be upside down. I would be like, I am so sorry. I will never do that again.
Your parents ever asked you a question but did not let you answer the question?
Absolutely.
So where were you? I was
shut up when I'm talking to you.
Right.
Okay.
You want to let me answer or is it rhetorical?
One time, Tarrah, I came home late. So the old house I used to live in, it was pretty big because it was a lot of us. And then you had to walk through like the foyer area, and then there was like this room right there, and then like you could walk through it and get to also the kitchen and the steps and stuff. I was walking through that foyer area. It was dark, and I was trying not to make no noise. And I thought I was about to walk through that kitchen to get to the steps, and my mother was sitting right here in the chair. The lights was off. It was dark.
Not you sitting in the dark.
I turned that corner and she flicked that light on.
She couldn't wait. She been waiting for that moment her whole life.
And I wasn't bad. I wasn't even doing it. I was just out late with my friends having fun. We was bicycling.
Why do they be doing that? Let you walk in the house with the lights off and then plop the light on. Why do y'all be sitting there in the dark?
Honestly, I should have known something was up because in that house my parents had like what was, I guess you could consider like a gallery wall.
Good.
They had like a gallery wall that had lights on it, and all those lights were off. So I was just thinking, oh, they just forgot to flip the switch to turn them lights on. And I thought, baby, I was in that clear. She was sitting in the chair like this. She said, "You had fun?"
And they always ask you a dumb question. Like a dumb question.
Like, what am I supposed to say to that? Okay, if I say no, I didn't have fun.
You thought it was okay to walk into my house at this ungodly hour? I thought God made all the hours.
Is he God of all or is he God of none? What is it? Is he omniscient, omnipresent, or is he not there? What are you talking about? Oh, God made mothers.
Parents a trip. Parents
you talking about, oh, God made mothers, so because God couldn't be everywhere at all times. Is he omnipresent or no?
Okay. Did your mama ever tell you couldn't do something because the Lord told her something?
My mother told me, yes, you can't go there. You can't go on that trip because the Lord said this is not going to end well. So I talked to the Lord last night too, and I feel like we got 2 different answers. So what is it?
I talked to the Lord last night too. And I feel like somebody wrong here. Somebody is misinterpreted. Baby. You can't go. Doggone it. You don't never let me do anything.
My parents, if it was
anywhere. I hate it here. Lord,
you're so
Jesus.
emotional as a teen. This is a PSA to our parents and parents out there. We're not yet mothers, but we were teenagers and children. Don't get discouraged. Your kids don't hate you. They don't want you to not be here. They love you. They revere you. They are
They
hormonal
just hormonal.
beings. We're
They
just,
just going
your
through it.
body feels like a combustion tank sometimes. You just be like, you know how the old cartoons where they used to be on like the railroads and stuff, and then the little thing would pop up, the black thing, the muffler or whatever. That's kind of how you be feeling sometimes. You be like, like you don't know which way is up or
Them
down, left or
hormones.
right. You be tired all the time. You don't understand why I'm so sleepy, but I be up all the time. And I be up at school, but then I get home and I gotta do homework and I be tired. And then I don't understand why I want to talk to this person, but I don't want to talk to her. It's just a mess.
Them hormones be
It's a mess. I'm
hormoning.
very thankful to have had a mother who studied that and knew knew the configuration of the human body, especially teenagers and working with babies in gynecology and stuff. She was very patient and kind, and she also understood like if I would be sleeping in on one day or sleeping. You know how some parents will bust in and tell you to get up and you gotta do this. So I'm not saying that happened every weekend, but some weekends I'd be like, I am just so tired, Mom. She would let me sleep in because she understood like my body is changing. I'm tired. She even told me, I didn't even realize this. She said the average teenager really actually needs like 18 hours of sleep on average because their body is changing and their hormones are changing so much. So you get the 8 hours at night, and then this is why you be so tired when you get home from school because your mind has been going and you really needed more sleep, but you couldn't get that sleep. So
Which
that's
is
your
really
body's
sad
growing.
because now it's like the school schedule is like terrible for kids. It's like they're
It
up at
changed?
6, 8. It's like they're going all day long. They're up at 6 in the morning. They got to be at school at like 7. After, if they're in anything after school, they have to do homework. Then they have study hall. Then they have after school activities. They're not getting home till 7, 8. That's on a practice day. If it's on a
That's
game
what
day,
time
it's
I was
probably
getting
something,
home.
it's probably getting home 9, 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And then you might still have to do a little bit of homework. You got to eat. And then now you have your phone. So now you sitting up scrolling on your phone, or they're playing a
That's
game until
true.
like 12, 1. And then you have to be up at 6 all over again. These kids are going through it. I mean, they're really going through it.
That's so true. I didn't even think about that because
It's probably stunting their growth or something. It's probably doing something to their
probably
brains.
it's probably doing, I could believe that it's doing something to a lot of stuff. It's probably doing things to their vision, their brain, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I didn't really think about that. Because I had practice. I did a lot after school, played tennis, was in the marching band, did dance. So I was getting home most days after practice 7, 8. And then on game days 9, 10. And I can't even imagine getting home and being scrolling on my phone. I like
Oh
literally, we
my
went home.
God.
If we had a little bit of homework to finish, we would either finish. I would either finish it that night or finish it in the morning. But I was taking a shower. I may have ate a quick snack. I don't even think I was eating dinner when I got home. I was taking a shower and I was going to bed and getting back up for school the next day.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Crazy.
There was one more thing. I don't know if you saw the video that I posted in the group docket note for the barista. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Mm-mm.
It's it's pretty aggressive. It's a video of a woman. She is serving coffee at a coffee shop to someone through a drive-through, and the person throws the coffee back at her. But she gets out of that window and gives them the business, is what I could say. Like, she gives them the 1-2 punch. And I think it was just outrageous because I've worked in customer service before. I've worked in restaurant industries, all types of stuff. And you currently running a business where you have to have a level of customer service and be able to like offer things to people. And I was just, or have you ever had an occurrence in customer service where you just felt like this person is acting in an outrageous manner? Like, if I could 1-2 well on them, I probably would, but I'm not gonna do that because that's just not.
So I worked at Ulta for a while,
Mm.
and they used to come in and just steal things, like just
How do
steal.
you steal out of
Like,
Ulta? I feel like it's so much security. Not
no,
security, but it's like the
yeah,
things are right there. It's like
yeah,
people
but they're
always
not gonna
asking you.
stop you. They're not gonna stop you.
Oh.
So like they would come in, grab the big gas, and clear a whole thing of perfume and put them in there. And we used to say, "Stop, stop!" And it was just like a total weird, just
What?
crazy situation. But we couldn't physically stop them because they're not like we don't have the right to do that, and they know that. So they're just gonna bump you or go past you. So it was just kind of a crazy feeling to, even though it wasn't sure stuff, to have your place of business robbed. It was like, it was a very strange feeling.
I used to work at Macy's and people used to steal, but again, it wasn't really our thing. You would see people like putting things in their purse or doing things, but
No, they would come in and clear a whole section.
like the people, like the smash and grabs we're seeing now.
Yes, like that.
So they've been doing this.
Yes.
So that was years ago.
Yes.
Wow.
And they know that you can't do anything as an employee
But what happens
because,
when you come against somebody who don't care and they gonna do something because they just don't care?
but you will lose your job for doing that because they can't
Wow.
insure you for that. Like, that's not your job to do that. That's why they have like built into their, you should, like,
It's a
from what
loss
I understand,
prevention thing.
loss prevention, they
Mm-hmm.
have, those numbers built in that they're going to lose so many due to theft, robbery, blah, 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 blah. So
That's
now
crazy.
once they leave, they can get found by the police and the police can get it back, but you can't do anything as a worker. So it was just a very strange feeling.
I did
I have
not know
worked
that. I
with
never knew
people
that.
I have worked with people that I felt like were off though. Like they'll
What
make
you
up on
mean?
people that
I mean, I get what you're saying, but
the elevator ain't going all the way
all
to
the
the
way to the
top.
top.
Mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-mm. Or
Okay.
just some kind of very mentally not there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so mentally, maybe that's a better way to say it. Sorry, excuse me. But mentally, they just weren't there.
Completely available,
And
yeah.
yeah, completely present.
Mm.
And yeah, so
How how was that? Because I've also kind of had that encounter. I had a really, I guess I'll say this first. There was a situation. I didn't work with this person, but we were in close proximity doing schoolwork. I used to do the model AU and stuff. And there was a situation where someone really was off, and it actually was an altercation happened, and I think you may remember this between our mutual friend and this person,
of course.
and I don't know if it's because I have a heart for the mentally ill, and I know that that's someone that I'm supposed to work with. I already knew that they weren't mentally present. We would talk. I was like this, and I don't think other people could sense that at first because they were really good about being present. And I mean, it came to a situation where I had to stop a whole like glass from flying across the room
Oh
into their
my.
head. Like it was like the Matrix. Everything happened in slow motion. I saw this person pick the glass up. It was like, oh, and I was like, no, because it was going right. Their head was right here, and I was like, no, this cannot happen. um, and I knew how that felt. I don't think I've ever worked. I have worked with some people who were like a little slower to retain information and stuff, but nothing that I felt like they were doing. They weren't doing anything that encountered anyone else. You know what I'm saying? Like doing makeup on someone and you're not fully present. What?
No. Like clients. I've worked on clients that I was like,
Oh,
you're different.
interesting.
You're different. It's okay. That's just as long as we stay calm. And
And
if
you were
you
able to
listen to
navigate it. So nobody's ever like turned up on you like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that person. I mean, that's an extreme. Even though I have seen that, I used to be a barista at several coffee shops, so I've seen people throw coffee back. It's actually more. It's not common, but you see it the more you work in that industry. Like I have
oh wow.
seen people throw hot coffee back at people. Um, that kind of turning up is extreme, but like, have you ever had a client turn up on you? Like in a way where you're like, whoa.
By the grace of God, no.
Okay. That's good.
And I will say that in the beauty industry, you see like those videos of like people not wanting to pay their bill. They're just trying to
Mm-hmm.
manipulate the situation, say they don't like it so that they don't have to pay. It's really not about the fact that they don't like it. They just don't want to pay you. Or they want to not have to pay. So they're trying to, you know, I have had that happen, and I was just like, sorry, I did the work. So, yes, you still owe me. And they paid by God's grace, which is kind of awkward because at the time I was like going to clients. So, like, makeup artists can, a lot of times they do house calls, like they go to their client. So, to be in someone's home and if they turning up or acting weird, it's just a very strange feeling. But by God's
Mm.
grace, yeah. So, but by God's grace, I haven't had that experience. I have had experiences where I was just like, felt uneasy. Like,
Mm.
y'all are different kind of people. And I'm not really feeling this. And let me hurry up and get my tail out of here. You know what I'm saying? But,
Wow. It's interesting going into people's homes. You really don't know
it
what you're going to
is.
expect. You know, I
And
worked, in the industry where I had to
and
go
I
into people's
don't,
homes.
yeah, and I don't do it as much, and I don't miss it. That I don't miss. If I'm going into your home at this point, I already know you very well. Like I know you
Mm.
pretty well, you know. So, but like going into strangers' homes, I don't miss that,
You don't really know what you're going to encounter. You can encounter
bruh.
hoarder situations, bad smells,
And by God's grace,
animals.
let me tell you something. The higher your prices, the less you deal with that. So,
That makes
if you're
sense. Yeah.
getting like a type of client that you're like, ugh, you need to up your prices, like double your prices, and you won't get that type of client anymore. You just won't.
Mm,
I don't know
that
how to
makes
say that in a
sense.
better sounding way, but like if your prices get higher, they're less likely to call you. They don't want to pay that price.
Well,
So
yeah.
you're only gonna get people that are at a certain financial level. And not to say that means they're better or they're not dirty, because they could be dirty and they could be weird and they can be, but as far as like, it kind of puts you in a different.
There's a weeding out that happens with that.
Yeah, a
It
hundred
does, for
percent,
sure.
100%.
Hmm.
You
I
weed out
agree.
certain type of clients when you have a higher price point.
I agree with that.
I heard a guy say "sell to the rich," and I was like, that makes
Sell
sense.
to the rich.
He was talking. He's like a financial coach, and he was basically like, if you have a product and you're trying to make an income off your product, he was like, sell smaller number of items to richer clientele, because
For more.
if your clientele, let's say your client, let's say your price point is 10 grand, right? You have a 10 grand, $10,000 product. To a rich person, 10 grand is 10 grand. But if I have a net worth of $3 million, 10 grand to help build my next level, it's normal.
Mm.
But if I have a net worth of $50,000, 10 grand is 20% of my life.
Mm.
So am I going to be on your head about the 10 grand and about everything I'm getting for the 10 grand? Yes. Is the rich person not going to be on your head as much? No, they're not. So I thought that was an interesting concept.
That is interesting. I never thought about it like that because you know sometimes when you hear business advice, you hear the opposite of that a little bit.
Now, he said if you don't have, when you're starting out, because you don't have manufacturing to manufacture hundreds and thousands, or you're not at scale yet to scale that many products. But if you're starting out and you sell a higher price point to fewer people, it's a lot easier for you to deliver on what you said. Then you have all these clients buying at a lower price point, which makes total sense before you're at scale, before you scale up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you never encountered that, and I hope you never do,
Thank
because it
you.
is something to see. I've had situations where I've had to be. I was managing a restaurant one time, and someone was I mean irate to the and I had to be like, "Don't point your finger at, like, get out of here." They put your big girl pants on and be like, "Get out of here," and call the
Yeah,
police.
basically, yes, basically like by God's grace, and I think I have worked in this. I have a grace to like I know what to say to disarm people
Mm-hmm.
before I get there. And some
Yeah.
people, I've had people like start to show irritation, and I just remind them, hey, I'm on your side. I want to help you. And the only way that I'm going to get to a solution is if we work together. We
Mm-hmm.
have to work together to find a solution for you.
There's a way to
But we
keep
can't
it median for sure. If you can
keep it
just
down.
like
If you could just not engage with
don't
them,
engage and don't elevate. A lot of
don't
times,
elevate.
if
Yeah.
if someone's yelling and you're consistently talking low, eventually they'll hear themselves
Mm-hmm.
yelling and screaming, and then they'll start to feel a little foolish, and they
Foolish.
will come back down and not engage in that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and being a customer service is the same way. I had to intervene because I felt an obligation at that point. This was my employee as the manager, and I was like, I need to step in. But outside of that, on my own, I really feel like I've been able to like bring people down
Yeah, you're able to be now
and
in
yeah.
relationships or friendships. It's just like, well, let's revisit this when we're able to talk in a calmer way. Like I will disengage. I will just either like that's my number one. I'm gonna give you a couple times, and be like, yeah, I don't think right now that this is going anywhere, and
If it's not
then
going anywhere, if it's not productive, there's no reason for us to engage in this like shouting match or like trying to prove points. Honestly, sometimes it does take you to calm down and revisit a situation to see it differently. Sometimes when
yes,
you're so focused on what is happening in the moment and you have this point and you have this like irritation, whatever in your mind, that's what you're focused on. And you can't really see anything outside of that. So it does take a step back. Like, have you ever, as a creative, have you ever worked on something and you was like, I'm gonna go to sleep. And you woke up with fresh eyes and a fresh
yep,
ear, and you're
yeah,
like, this looks different, it sounds
yeah,
different, I feel different I
about
do
it.
think sometimes you do have to step away from things
You
and be
do.
like, I'm gonna come back to this when I'm a little bit
It
different.
Yeah, it was even as simple. I remember when I was just going through a rough time and it was like a lot of triggering things for me. And it was as simple as I'm going to the gym and I'll be back.
Mm,
And after the gym, I had a new perspective. Like 45 minutes, an hour, I got on the treadmill. I listened to something. Da 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 da. I come back. It was like, okay, I can think about this logically. But when
mm,
my blood was going, and all of this, cortisol and all of this is jumping,
yeah.
jumping like Destiny's Child. It was not gonna be good for anybody. So you need to disengage, go do something else, and come and revisit this. I don't want to. And then I used to say stuff like, I don't ever want to disrespect you, but I can feel that I am getting upset by some of the things you're saying. I don't want to say anything that will cause you to not feel respected in this moment. So let's revisit this. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to go for a walk. And
Tell
then
the people that's good.
we can just revisit this
That's
at a later
good.
time when we're both able to, you know, be, have, be more calm. Yeah. Mm-mm. Because nobody's getting anywhere if I am up here, like emotionally. I can't even hear you anymore. I
You
I
don't
literally
hear
can't.
people.
I
You
literally
don't
can't hear you.
hear the point. You don't hear what they're saying. You're no longer listening. You're
You're
no
no
longer
longer
actively
listening.
listening. You're just listening to respond. You're not
You're
listening to
just
understand. You're just, yeah.
if you think yelling at me is gonna get me, no, absolutely
I
not.
don't
We
engage with
could,
yellers. I'm not
yeah,
a
yeah,
yeller. Even though I talk
yeah.
loud, I don't yell. Especially in argument or like if we're
Mhm,
having a disagreement or something. Actually, the most calm I usually am in my temperament of tone and my voice is when there is a situation of despair or like disruption where we
mhm.
are having a situation, because I'm mindful of the fact that I don't want you to feel like I'm being aggressive or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, disengaging. It's just powerful. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to get anywhere. I think I heard somebody say they have a two exchange rule. Like, it's like, I said this. No, no, you didn't. One. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Two. After that, they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, let's revisit this. They're not going to
Yeah,
keep going back and forth. I think it was like a two exchange. It was like
which is
after those two
smart.
exchanges, it's like, okay, we can agree to disagree, or we can revisit this, and maybe I can get more information. You can get more
Mm-hmm.
information. We could check out, or we can let's agree to disagree.
Yeah, I agree with
Hmm.
that.
Hmm. I
I
thought that
think
was
that's
wise.
wise. I think that's
Because
wise too,
after
for sure.
that third no, you did it. It's about to
It's
be
just a
some
back and
kind of
forth, and we don't
it's
have time for that.
it's about to be some kind of negative blow. Like, you never, you always, you miss, you didn't, you don't listen to me, blah, blah, blah. Yes, I do listen to you. So after that second exchange, it's like nothing good's going to come from that. So let me just say, okay, well, that's, I can see how you feel that way. And I feel my way. We could just agree to disagree.
You remember that episode of Living Single where it was like a Mother's Day episode, and Regine and her mom got into it, and Max was like, "I got the sure ultimate plan for you to like win this argument. Just apologize when she comes in. Like, you apologize. People don't really have anything to say after that. After you apologize." And she was like, "Oh yeah, so diabolical. I feel like it could work." But then her mom apologized to her first, and she was like, "Well, you can't apologize because I was going to apologize." And then the mom was like, "Okay, I forgive you." She's like, "You forgive me for what? I didn't do anything wrong." And then it was just like this whole big blow up again of like, there's a way to end the disputes without it having to be a game. I feel like it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be, and that like two thing is really, I'm pretty, I would say I'm probably on par with that. Like, if we're just talking about something meaningless and we having like a debate, that's one thing. But if it's
You
like
do
something
like to debate.
serious, I do. I ain't gonna hold
Hmm.
you. I never said I didn't. I actually just said that I did it on this podcast right here, and thank you for agreeing with me.
I was agreeing with you. Second that.
So,
I support it. All in favor say aye.
so but if it's something serious where it's like I'm not gonna, once I say I understand what you're saying, and you say I don't understand it, or what that woman said, like you said this and I said that, I'm gonna be like, okay, we're not seeing eye to eye. I don't feel like this conversation is conducive happening right now. It's not leading to the solution we're looking for. Let's just separate, and we can come back and we can
It's
discuss
what
it
we
later.
gotta do.
Separate.
It's
Talk about
me
me and
and
you.
you.
Separate, separate. How it's gotta be. Separate, separate. No more you and me.
Okay,
Yeah.
song break. Anywho,
Anywho, I guess that some of this
that
was
was a
our
great show
artists.
too. That was a great
What
show too.
show?
My Wife and Kids. Blinky dudes,
Yes!
blinky
Blinky
dudes.
dudes. Fun for
One
me.
for me,
Fun for
one
you.
for you. Blinky
Blinky
dudes,
dudes. Blinky dudes.
blinky dudes.
Man, I
Boy,
love these
love
are
these.
my favorite shoes.
He said, boy, these
Oh,
are the greatest shoes.
that man, we had good television.
We
Man, that
had
was so
great television.
good. That was so good. There was an episode where he was trying to have a singing group and Katie couldn't sing as good as his sister. And his sister was like sounding like Aretha, and he was like, "Your voice is great." She had to tell him, "It's not. It's not as great as your sister's. You love me, and it's clouding your mind." Oh gosh, yes, great shows. Okay, so hopping into the conversation, we can talk about really quickly. I had an idea, or really not an idea, but I was looking at some different things about people kind of talking about them putting themselves out there and how it didn't garner the response or whatever that they were looking for. And I was thinking, like, you know, kind of like a results may vary thing, right? Like sometimes you feel like you are doing everything right. You feel like I'm following this map, I'm following whatever. What happens when you feel like you're doing everything right and it still doesn't work out?
In regards to,
Like it doesn't work out the way that you thought. Like in regards to like friendship, right? You feel like you are putting yourself out there, you're going out there, you're trying to meet new people, you're connecting, you're networking or whatever you want to call it. You're being open, you're being honest, you are talking to people, and you just feel like you're not garnering any traction back. Kind of similar to dating, right? Sometimes you can feel like I'm putting myself out there, I'm trying to date, I'm trying to meet people, and I'm not getting any response back, and I don't know what's happening. Like, what do I do when I feel like I'm doing everything right already?
and you're just trying to make new friends.
Yeah, let's start off with that.
I mean, the number one thing that came to mind after you said that is environment. And sometimes you're just not in the right environment with
What
the
do you mean by that?
caliber, like the caliber of people that you would consider that have the characteristics of a person that you would like to be around, right? So sometimes we just frequent the same places or we just do the same thing all the time. And so sometimes you have to change up your environment by trying um, being in a new space, trying new things. And a part of that is just you bettering yourself, right? So let's say you want to take a class on real estate and you're like, man, this is something I've always wanted to do. And you being in that new class around new people in real estate and you showing up in a friendly way, because the Bible has this verse that I've always loved. It said, if a man wants friends, he needs to show himself friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So you showing up in that new space, friendly and positive and excited, will draw other friendly, positive, excited people. And sometimes you're just not going to a new space where you can encounter new, great type of quality people. And so I think part of that is doing things you love, because what makes our friendships grow is that, or encounter these awesome friendships is that these people have great character, they are quality and they're pursuing their goals, they have something to offer that they can share with you, you have things you can share with them, and y'all have commonalities, y'all have things you have in common. And a lot of that can be determined by the environment that you are in. That, like you said, that filters, like when we're talking about that price, it filtered out a lot of types of people that want you clients that you wouldn't normally engage in or feel like are you guys connect at the same level. Well, just I feel like environment does the same thing. If you are, you know, at a professional golf tournament, that's going to put you in a different type of environment versus you at the corner liquor store. That's going to put you in a different type of environment versus you are at a nightclub. That's going to put you in a different type of environment versus you are at a volunteer function or, you know, gala. That's going to put you in a different type of environment. So I think the first thing has to be, who do you want to be and what kind of people do you want to be around? And once you determine who you want to be, the quality of people you want to be around, you feel like that will make a good friend for you, then you need to figure out, where do these type of people go? Okay, they go to volunteer events, they go to functions, they go to galas, they go to, you know, nice uh, workout facilities. I don't know, you know, and then you meet the type of people that are into what you're into. So lately, I've been meeting a lot more creatives because I am into creative things. So the more I go into that arena, the more people I meet that I have things in common with. And so then we're able to build this friendship off of common interests, you know? And then once we get to know each other based on our interests, we figure out, man, we have a lot of similar character traits. Okay,
Beautiful. They'll never be as creative to you as me, though. They'll never replace me.
right. They have great character, but the more you spend time with them, the more you learn about them.
Yeah.
But what got you there is you having common interests, but what led you to meet them is you guys were at a place where you both wanted to be in some kind of way. So it's easier to meet friends in new environments where you share common interests, is what I'm saying.
So you sought out those places, right? So you, cause maybe you felt like, or maybe people can feel like they are doing new tactics just in the same environment, and that's why they're not garnering that change that they're looking for.
You're going to the same places, yes.
So
go
you saw out and you were like, I really want to meet people in my area who are more creative. So you started to seek out places. You didn't necessarily, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know what? I did it for me. I wasn't really doing it to meet people necessarily. I mean, networking is always at the back of your mind, but I did it because I wanted to grow in certain areas. Like I got my insurance license and I started going there and I met new friends there. I met a lot of people there. So because I have, and continue to meet people there. So because I've built this new skill set and I'm learning and growing and developing, it opens me up to a different level and a different caliber of people. And then, you know, I'm in a studio right now, so I'm in creative spaces a lot. So I'm meeting people in, you know, I go to cafes and work and so I'm always in these spaces where like a lot of creatives are, and that's how I'm able to meet new people. So yeah, it's important that you just change up your environment and go somewhere new. And I'll be the first one to admit that I can be bad at that. Like people invite me places, I'm like, do I have to? I have to put on my clothes. I have to put on my makeup. I have to.
You don't like
I have to do all of this.
You're not the biggest on networking. Like you do.
No,
like,
I was terrible.
Yeah,
I was terrible.
You like to have human interaction, but networking really is like a drag.
Yeah, it has. I know now that it's necessary. I know I'm much more intentional now than I've ever been in my life because I understand that like your business is dependent on your network. I mean, let's be honest. It just is. And that's how it works. The more people you know, the more relationships you have, the more opportunities you have. So I'm much more, I don't like small talk. I like real
meaty
talk.
Conversations.
Meaty, in-depth, valuable, you know, amazing conversation. Yeah. So to small talk with a lot of people, you talking about exhausting.
I can get that.
Encountering all these different type of personalities, I gotta size you up every time.
Keep saying the same thing over and over to people. It's like, Blah.
Blah. But I understand more so now. But I love like a in depth. I love like a dinner or like where I have time to really engage and learn and all of that, or if it's in a cool environment that we can just exchange about the environment, But like, oh yeah, nice to meet you. What do you do? What do you do? Blah, blah. That's not my favorite. I don't say I hate it, but it's not my favorite. So, but when you're in a place where you are meeting people that's interested in what you're interested in, that's a way easier situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, what? Like when I'm talking to creatives, we're talking about gear. Oh, what camera you shooting? How long you been shooting? What do you like? Oh man, I like this. Oh man, really? Da-da-da. Now we besties. We gear besties by in about 5-10 minutes. We didn't already, Peaky swore about something.
Found a
At this
common.
point,
What I'm hearing is sometimes if you're doing what you feel like is right, putting yourself out there, being open, you have to make sure the environment is conducive to build commonality.
yes,
Like to be able to community is built on similarities of interests,
yes,
of
yes,
goals, of purposes, different things like that. And so if you're going to places, which I think is a great point because I didn't even think about that, the fact that maybe you are doing all of these things, because we talk about a lot about building relationship and putting yourself out there and laying your walls down, but environment also matters. Where you're going when you're
100%.
doing this, think about, I'm a gardener. I like to plant. I like to grow. I like to do things. Think about like if you're planting something. If you want a tree that needs a lot of sunlight, you're not going to plant it in the backyard in the shade. You're gonna grow that. You're gonna put it somewhere where it's gonna get the nutrients and the sun that it needs. So I think a lot is to be said for the same way about the seeds that we plant for our relationships. Um, the environment really does matter. Where you go, who you spend your time with, who you spend time building these connections with matter. I think that was a
Do
great
y'all have
analogy.
common goals? Yeah, do y'all have common
Yeah.
goals? It's like if you have common goals, y'all probably have
Probably share interests,
shared
share.
interests, shared if you have common goals, it's certain things that you share. Like let's say y'all both have a goal of being fit, right? It's certain attributes that come along
Mm-hmm.
with being fit. You have to be disciplined, you have to be dedicated, you have to be resilient, you have to be, long suffering to a degree that you're able to show
Willing
up
to
day in.
willing to pour into that, willing to
Yeah.
sacrifice,
You're
commitment.
committed. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have some kind of plan to stick to. So that means you plan and you stick to what you say. It's certain things that come with certain kind of lifestyles,
Mm-hmm.
right? So uh if you share those type of characteristics or those are things you admire, then being in an atmosphere or an environment
Mm.
where people like that are, then you already put yourself in a new space, right? You're around people with shared goals and shared attributes that you admire and shared interests. So to me, that environment is super key.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that's a great point. I think that's probably one of the main points. If you honestly feel like you are hitting these checkpoints of wanting to build connections and it's not working out, you feel like, man, I'm doing everything that I feel right. Probably a good question is to check your environment. And I'm a product of that in the sense of I was in an area where I felt like I am trying to exude and emote these things and do all this, and it ain't working. It is not landing. Like, I don't understand what's happening, and I moved to a new space, and I have never felt so reinvigorated. Like you think you move somewhere and it's like scary, and it is, and I miss my friends and I miss. what I knew, but I feel so invigorated and I feel so like new and fresh, and I'm like meeting people and I'm doing all these things that are like, I'm like, man, I've been talking about this. I've been thinking about this. Like, oh my God, where have you been? Like, where are you? Like, what is this? And I was just in the wrong environment doing that, doing emoting and doing the things that I'm so accustomed and natural inclination. Because sometimes you do have inclinations because you are a person and you're built a certain way. You were molded a specific way. If you're a believer, I believe that, for me, you were molded that way by God. And so you'll be like, I'm acting this way, and it's just not. Even thinking about like going back to high school, right? You had the cliques. Like, I like this, and this is not rocking with the jocks and the cheerleaders. Maybe I like anime, or maybe I like this. Okay, these kids over here like this. Maybe I like photography, or I like to do this. Okay, yearbooks over here. And they're doing all, and like you have these environments that foster the kind of like mentality that you have and the
Yeah,
goals and the visions and the
absolutely.
dreams. So I completely agree with that. Um there's scripture that talks about giving a right word in the wrong time being like a wrong word. I think um on the back end of that, sometimes you can be planting the seed in the wrong soil.
Yeah, for sure. For
And
sure.
it's just,
And
yeah.
there's a verse that says, "Don't cast your pearls before swine." Like you
Mm-hmm.
have something valuable to offer, but you're giving it to people who don't appreciate you. You need to go somewhere else. You know, you need to bring your what that value that you have to a new environment that can value who you are and appreciate you, because they just don't, and they probably never will. You know, they just never will.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And the environment doesn't necessarily have to be indicative of everyone there. Like sometimes you leave the environment, you still have connections to people who are there. Like you moved to Dallas and saying we have been friends and nobody knew why Tarrah was moving. I mean, I understood when you told me the vision that God had for you, but everybody was like, why is she moving to Dallas after college? Like, why is she going there? And she's from Chicago, and then she's like going, you know what I'm saying? And like the flourishing and the different things that have happened for you since you've been there. It's just like you don't always, some people are afraid to leave their environment because they think they're leaving people behind. And that's not always the case. And so I think it's important for you to understand that. Um, and hopefully you have friends who understand that because you're leaving that environment doesn't mean you're leaving them behind. You're just leaving that environment to go to somewhere that fosters what the next level that you're trying to get to or whatever is happening, for
yeah,
sure.
100%. And it's never about that for the most part. I don't think we're ever making a move to leave someone.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, it's always to go to something. So it's important that it's not about that. It's about to go towards something. So yeah, I would say 100%. Get in a new environment, get around new people. But here's the second part to that is that you're still the same you. That you from the old environment is still there. So there's going to be some things and mindsets that you're going to have to change in as you come into this new space and be open to new mindsets. For instance, I just started, I didn't say I've been going to a new church for about 2 years, but I haven't been as active in serving. And it's two different churches in one church. It's the church that you just sit in the pew, and once you get into
Man,
serving, it's like a
service is
whole
like
different church.
a whole new world.
It's like a whole nother
It
church
really is a whole new world.
experience.
You're like, oh.
It's like a totally different experience to just attend church
Mm-hmm.
versus serving church. So I've been serving on a new ministry for the last few weeks, and um it was a little bit of a culture shock. I haven't been in a church culture like that ever. And I found myself being like um it was like a shock to my system to say. And when you go to new
Mm.
environments, a lot of times they have a different culture, a different way of thinking, they have a way of doing things, and it can be a shock to your system. And you got a choice. You can, number one, you can assimilate, you can learn the culture, you can develop, make these new connections, or you can rebel and leave and be like, this too much, they too different from me, and go back to your old environment. We see a lot of movies about stuff like that where like kids they go away to college or they go to a new school and it's so different. So they can either find their place in that new space or they can go and try to go back to the old place. And so those are the choices you have. But when you do, here's the warning, when you do go into your new environment, you're going to have to change. You are going to have to level up. You are going to have to go to the next level because these people operating in this new environment,
you got to be open to that
they
environment.
they're operating on a different frequency, a different level than you have been. And that's kind of the point of being in a new place so that you can develop to the next level. But you have to be open to that. And you have to be willing to not try to bring them to where you are, but to come up to where they are. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. As long as you're looking at it from a sense that these people are not bringing me down but elevating me, I should be open enough or willing enough to like meet them instead of trying to bring them to me, because that can be intimidating when you go into atmospheres and you're like, these people are nothing like me or like what I've experienced. I don't know what to do with this.
I don't know what to do with
How
this.
do I act? How do I
over,
stand? How do I?
It could be overwhelming.
You can look at small things. You're like, and you can find yourself trying to be performative, but just be you and be open and really like, if they are somewhere you want to go, then follow that trajectory, I guess, a little bit.
I also think we underestimate the power of comfort. How comfortable we are and like to be, that we sacrifice opportunities that
comfort.
can change on the altar of comfortability. We would rather be comfortable doing what we know how to do all the time and not changing and not stretching ourselves, even if that means new opportunity, freshness. We'd rather be comfortable. I know this is not the best. I know it's not the best, but it's comfortable. And I know it. And it's safe. It's my safe,
It feels safe, but
it feels safe.
One day we'll talk about how that comfort really is false.
It's false.
Because you really actually are not happy in that comfort. You just don't want to.
You just don't want to leave.
It's have learned how to navigate it. And so you feel confident in navigating that comfortability, even though it's not giving you the outcome that you desire.
Yeah, it's a problem if we never, it's like in school. If I don't matriculate to the next grade, that's a problem. I shouldn't be in 4th grade for 5 years. I shouldn't be in 5th grade for 6 years.
Yeah.
Like we should be going to the next level, new challenges, new testing, new opportunities. Now in 5th grade, I get to have dance class. Now in 8th grade, I get to go to the football game. It's new things that we get to do as we grow. And so, we got to stop being so comfortable and get out of our comfort zone and try new things and meet new people. And yes, that is going to take some slaying some new dragons. Maybe you're not used to having to do an elevator pitch, but now you are in these networking situations and you got to tell people what you do in 20 seconds. 20 to 30 seconds.
Or less.
Oh, well, I don't have an elevator pitch. Okay, well, develop one.
Get one.
Get one. And
so everybody don't have all day.
Right. So the way that you move in that new environment is going to take some planning and some strategic thought on your part. But if you're willing to do that, the gains are endless. It's such a great opportunity. But it's going to challenge you. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're probably going to have to talk to people you don't want to talk to. You're probably going to have to be quick on your feet. You're probably going to have to be put on the spot on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So
You got to
you're pro-
be people who say that they aren't people, like you're a person who's not a people person. I don't know how far you expect to go. You don't get anywhere without people.
That's 100% true.
So you better
You're
get
gonna need
comfortable.
you're gonna need people. You're gonna need people at some point. 100%. Now, technology has come a long way. You're able to have tech jobs and be very, depends on your definition of successful. But you can provide for yourself very well just being in front of a computer all day.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have these calls. You still have to talk to your team. You still have to work with people. Like, people are our greatest resource, as you say all the time. Like, you don't get around it. So the best thing you could do is put your foot in the water and start and
Not
learn
dip
to
your toe
swim.
in.
Dip your toe in. Dip your toe. Start with one foot and make your way.
Get your feet wet. For
Get your feet
sure.
wet.
It's no way. I think those are all great, solid points for sure. And I agree. I really have nothing more to add to that. I really do want people to get out there, change your environment, look at the people who you're trying to grow from and become, and don't the people who make history are not afraid of change. And I think change and comfortability fall hand in hand. Like, if you are afraid of change, you're too comfortable with comfortable. There is a power and a strength that unlocks when you go out of your comfort zone and you do something
Yeah.
that scares you, or you do something that's bigger than you ever imagined, or anything like that. And honestly, here's the kicker. When you do it and you prove to yourself, I can do this, even if you don't get the outcome that you wanted or you feel like you failed, it's still I did it.
I did it.
I
I did
did
it.
it.
100%.
I can do it builds your confidence to feel like you can do anything.
Yeah.
And so the more you lean into that and the more you're adapt to being able to do without not wanting to change, I think the more opportunities open up for you, and the wider you cast your net.
So, can I share something? So, I'm
Yeah.
having to do that. It never stops. I've sang on bigger stages and churches, like as a background singer, whatever, what have you. But now I'm at a point where I'm having to develop my own set and do live shows on my own by myself. No background singers, nobody. It's like on me by myself as a solo performer until, I get a band. But right now it's going to be like local around my city and stuff. And I've never done that before. So I'm developing sets, right? Like songs that I want to sing, so that I can play like an hour or 2 hours, whatever. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been working on that for like a couple weeks, and I feel like God keeps showing me that that's something that I should do. So I'm working on that. And yeah. Oh wow. And so I'm working on that, right? And so I was at a coffee shop yesterday. And there was a girl that came in. I was doing my work. She came in. She set up her like guitar. She set up her stuff, and she did a set. She was decent. She was decent.
Nothing to write home about. But she
No,
did it.
but she did it. She sounded good. She had her thing. She was singing and playing at the same time, which is not an easy thing to do.
Not People don't realize it's not easy to
It
sing
is
and play the guitar at the
so
same time.
much more work. So much more work. Your vocals can suffer. You have to be very, 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 very good to be vocally cold with it and be playing at the same time. You're usually gonna mellow out your vocal by playing, you know? So, but people were coming up to her and saying, man, you sound really good. Here's my card for this, or I do this and I can help you with this.
My card. Wow.
My card.
Here we
go. A videographer took video of her and was like, hey, I'll send you the video. You don't have to pay me. I just wanted to get some footage. You're doing well. I do this and this.
Know.
I would love to interview you for a show that I'm doing, upcoming show. Here's the thing that I learned from that moment. It's not about your perfection. It is about showing up in the moment and just doing it. And once you do it, people will come to you with opportunity. But as long as you're hiding in the shadows and just telling people you do it, but not actually doing it, it's like you're going against the stream. You're swimming upstream. But things start to come to you when you actually just step out and do it. And so that was a real big encouragement to me, because it was like, Tarrah, once you do this, I know this is uncomfortable for you. This is a new environment for you. This is new territory for you. Because I've never been in a place where I'm doing full sets of me singing and playing. But if you're willing to just step out and practice and get your craft, continue to refine yourself so that you can present at a level that you want, and not even wait until you get to that level. Just go, and as you go, you'll get better and better. But the ego doesn't want to present anything that's not perfect.
It's fragile. It's like I don't want to put vulnerability.
It ain't the level. It ain't at the level where I want. And my mentor still to this day said, Tarrah, done is better than perfect. You're so worried about being perfect.
Yeah.
But perfection comes as you go. Every show you learn more about how to be better. But if you never do the first show that's not perfect, you won't learn the next lesson. It's like predicated on steps.
Progression over perfection.
Yeah, you cannot skip step 1, 2, and 3 and go to step 5 where you're like killing it now. No, you had to go through step 1, learn everything you need to do on step 1, and you didn't kill it, you made it. And then step 2, you didn't kill it, you did all right, and you learn from that. Okay, next time I'm gonna do this. And I heard somebody talk about how their brain literally is made like that, to make these pathways and new pathways and these new neural assignments that doesn't happen until you do the thing. You literally have to do the thing before these new pathways are made and this experience of learning. And then you learn, okay, next time I do XYZ. So you cannot have the new pathways until you do the thing. You can't just wait to get the new pathways from osmosis. Like, you have to do the thing. And so that's what it taught me, like, Tarrah, like, this is uncomfortable for you. This is vulnerable for you. But you have to do the thing. You just have to do it.
Just do it. Nike said it.
Nike.
That's so true. You just have to start. Just do it.
But you want to be perfect.
You'll never be perfect though, but
at the beginning,
think about anybody from the beginning of their journey. No one ever is born we're not even born perfect. We have to learn to walk, talk, eat.
You have to start somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
From the beginning. And that beginning can be today if you want to. It's like you either start today
or today never comes. Like, it's just like, you're better off doing it now and just doing what you have and building that up than trying to psych yourself into believing that you'll get to a point where you're just going to. It's almost like people are like, every overnight sensation was 10 years in the making. Like, you
10
just see
years.
this person come out and you're like, oh, they just came out of nowhere. They didn't. They were doing silly things, and they were doing things that I have seen so many interviews of people who are like, yeah, I put these videos up on you. I can't believe those videos are still up on YouTube. Oh my God. It's so embarrassing, but it gave me my start. Like, it's there. I just did it. I just turned my camera on and I just did whatever was happening. And I look at the production and I think about, you're gonna start somewhere. Like,
Start somewhere.
we offer that space and that freedom in everything but creativity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we always say, this is a starter home. This is a starter job. This is, you're going into your college career.
Starter
You're doing
spouse.
starter this, starter.
I'm just joking. That was practice. No, I'm just joking.
Bah, 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 ladies and gentlemen. She's on 6 nights a week. Off on Sundays, for the Lord. That was funny. I didn't see that coming. But you have all these starter things, but when it comes to creativity, people feel like, I gotta be Vincent Van Gogh. I gotta be this. I gotta be Mozart.
Which
All
these people
started
weren't even
somewhere
appreciated until they were
until
dead.
after the post-mortem. A lot of people aren't appreciated till post. Look at Nipsey Hussle. Like, so just do it. Like, just let me tell you something. We're still in the process of just doing it with this. There's gonna come a day where we probably gonna look back on this production and be like, man, look at them
Ooh,
days.
child.
That was crazy. Look at that lighting. Look at that person. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Because we're gonna be on big stages like Oprah. We're gonna be like, man, I can't believe we started. I think someone who really inspired me, especially coming up and just doing it, was Issa Rae, because I used to watch her Awkward Black Girl series on YouTube in her early days and all these things. She was on a lot of shows. She did a lot of like projects on YouTube back in the day, in the early 2000s. And I used to be like, man, this girl, she's just getting on here, she's just doing this. And then I saw that progression. And then she did an interview talking about Insecure. And she was like, I want to be honest in saying that the very first call I had with HBO about Insecure, and from the very first call that I had with them to the fruition of it actually becoming the show, was 7 years. We had a call about them turning awkward. I'm sorry, there's a gnat. I have a fly that follows me every season. We'll talk about this another day. But help me, Lord. If it's the devil, if it's you, Lord, I don't want to kill it. But yeah, and that really helped me think about it. She was like, they wanted to turn Awkward Black Girl into a show, into a series. We went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on property rights, on all kind of directorial things. And from the first call to the very first episode of Insecure airing was 7 total years. And she had already been doing Awkward Black Girl like 7 years before that. She had been on YouTube building that platform and doing it and being like, just doing what she needed to do. And so I think about that and I'm just like, yeah, we don't like to think about time in the construct of building. We just want it to be there.
Great. We want it to be great overnight. We want it to be
and that's
great
just
overnight.
Not possible.
It's ridiculous. It doesn't change the fact that we want it. No, it makes no sense, but it doesn't change the fact that we want it to be that way. I don't care that it doesn't make sense. We still want it to be that way. We want to blow up overnight. That's why virility is so like, oh my God, everybody wants to be viral because it's the fruition of all of our dreams. We all want to just make it overnight. But
you want to,
if you make it overnight and
You
you
don't have
didn't do the work,
longevity.
you won't stay there. You won't stay there. She was able to, those 7 years developed her and
She had
primed
content.
and
She knew how to
prepared her.
produce. She knew how. Yes, it prepared her.
It built her confidence. She knew what she was doing. She knew how to handle things. All of that prepped and primed and prepared her for that moment. And had she not gone through all that, she wouldn't be where she is now. So
Think about some of the greatest, or not greatest, but think about some companies that you've seen that had these great content creators review and they weren't prepared for that influx of business. Think about the Keith Lee effect. If you really look at the trajectory of that, when it first started, people were overwhelmed. Businesses were actually like, we cannot handle this. It's too much. And now businesses know, like, if they reach out to Keith Lee, if they're coming, they prepare themselves for that. You have your system. I think about it. There was a company that I tried to patronize. Does like oils and stuff, black owned company. And they did like this really huge sale one time. Everything was like on sale. So I bought a lot. And what ended up happening was they could not handle the business. Like orders were getting canceled. Orders weren't coming for 6 months. I didn't get my order for 6 months. They gave you the option to cancel it and all this stuff. Like 3 months in, they started talking about all this stuff that was happening. People passed away. And yeah, you have this kind of like empathy, but the average man don't care about what's going on in your personal life. Your personal life and your business are two separate things. This is why talent trumps morality. We don't care what's going on in your personal life. Give us the entertainment. If you making good music or you doing whatever, I don't care what you're doing behind the scenes to these people. It's really funny, but it's really sad. But that is really what reality is. Yes. And so, on the beat, right now, give it to us. Right now, we just came here to see you crumping. I just want to see that. I just want to see you on that microphone. But same with business. When I come into an establishment, most of people, I have a little bit more reverence for it because I've been in customer service. I've been in the restaurant. When you have a business, it's a little different, but the average person doesn't have a business. So they're coming here and expecting you to provide what they paid for off the rip. And I don't care what's going on. If your daddy died, if your mama died, if your brother died, whatever. Where's my order? I'm looking out of the window. Where's Amazon be here in 2 days? Why are you not? And so I think about that bit, and that business crumbled eventually. Like, they tried to rebrand themselves, and I don't know how they're doing now, but that rebrand wasn't great. They tried to rebrand themselves and, like, do all this stuff. And I was like, I will never order from you again because I don't want to have to deal with this. I've been waiting on this product trying to, like, support. And that is really how it has to be. You start, and then it's just like what you see as the outcome may not be what happens in the beginning, but that Keith Lee effect lets you know to be prepared. Be prepared. Like, I think there was something that you said, which was really interesting. I don't know if you remember this, but it was something that you said your mom used to say to you, and my mom used to say to me too. And it was, do today what you'll be happy with tomorrow. And it's like, if you honestly are doing that every single day, there is no way you can not be prepared for whatever happens when that call comes, when that person comes, when that interaction comes, when that connection comes, when that networking event happens, whatever. You are going to be ready for it on some level. And you may not feel like you have everything right, but you'll have enough to get you to where you need to go.
But here's the thing.
your audience, there's an audience at every level.
Absolutely.
And if you steward, I believe, if we steward effectively the audience we have, well, while we have it, it will open doors for bigger audiences or greater audiences, right? And the fact of the matter is, you were watching her at the beginning. There was a group of people who loved
Hmm.
what she did and awkward stuff she was doing on her own. Awkward
Man,
Black
she
Girl.
garnered thousands. Not even. But here's also the thing. You can't go always about societal applause,
Yes, you can.
because Awkward Black Girl was on for a good 4 or 5 years. I was literally watching it season over season. She also had like Awkward Roommate. She had a lot of stuff I was watching. Like in college, straight out of college, she was doing a lot.
Hmm.
She didn't have a million. She didn't even have a million followers before that first call with HBO. You know what I mean? Like she had thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands at that point, but not what you would think you would need
And
to
it's
get
not,
that call.
and it's not all. It's never that. For the most part, it's usually like, are you consistent with where you are? And if you consistently show up, you'd be surprised. You don't have to
Yeah,
have $1 million followers to make money online, to sell
absolutely
things
not.
online.
I've seen
I
people with
had
50,000 followers
I
make
had
money.
50 followers, 100 followers. I get a lot of my clients from Instagram, and I had under 1,000. Like, and got clients off. So it's just about showing up and then targeting your audience. But
Mm-hmm.
she had an audience. You are watching her,
Mm-hmm.
and there is people that will support you at every level if you're
Every level.
showing up.
Yep.
And you don't have to, and I think this is what really kills it for us. It's like comparison. You're comparing yourself to somebody who's been doing something for 10 years. That's dumb. Stop doing that, because maybe who you're gonna help, it doesn't want the person that's been doing it for 10 years. You know why? Because they probably charge quadruple the price, or what they're doing is less. How many artists we love when they were underground? We was like, man, when they got commercial, it ain't even the same. We loved them more when they were underground.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how many artists I have seen for free. And I'm like, oh, so you charge 150? I mean, I appreciate it. If I like you, I'm gonna pay it because I'm a patron. I will patronize a business if I appreciate it. Don't matter.
Hmm.
But I saw Kanye for free before he was like free 99.0.00 dollars. He was with Common and he did a show in Atlanta. I saw K Tronada before he blew up. I have seen so many people, even like in the movie industry. There's someone right now that I don't really particularly want to name that I worked on back end for their photo shoot and for their video shoot. I did the videography, I did the styling, I did, and they are blowing up. And you know what I'm saying? You don't know somebody, everybody starts somewhere, but it's because they started. How do you
Started.
expect to finish a race you never start?
Yeah, we gotta start. You
You
just
gotta
gotta.
start.
You gotta
If
start.
we're gonna believe that your talent will make room for you, how would it ever make room if people don't know what your talent is?
Yeah, we gotta start. It's just a new challenge at every level. You gotta be willing to look stupid. Quote unquote. You gotta
Right,
be.
and you think you look stupid to yourself, and it's funny to other people. You be
They
thinking you look
love it.
ridiculous. You be thinking like, "Oh, that looks so bad." You look at this. You look back at these videos, and you're just like, "Oh, this looks so bad."
But
You are
people
your
love it.
own worst critic. You are your
You're your
own worst
own worst.
critic,
It was
and I'm
so
not. Yeah,
interesting. There's this example is this is like, I heard a real estate agent, not he was like in real estate, like investing. He was just like, what are cash cows? He was like, mobile homes. And people were like, mobile homes? He's like,
Mm.
I own over 500 mobile homes. And they are little cash cows. They just spent
I can
money.
believe that.
And he's like, just because you wouldn't necessarily want to live in a mobile home does not mean that there are not people who love mobile homes.
Some people love
So
it.
who love it, and that's all they think they like it. They don't mind it. It's cheaper. It do what it need to do for them.
And
That
some
there
of them
isn't
be nice. I've been
a
to some nice mobile homes before.
yeah, that there isn't a buyer for this product because
Don't
there
believe
is, just
it.
because you
Yeah.
wouldn't buy. So just because that audience isn't for everybody, there's an audience for you is what I'm saying. There's an audience for your product. There's an audience for what you have.
Always.
I don't care how many musicians come out. There's always going to be, I don't care what kind of fashion come out. I don't care what kind of makeup come out. It's always going to be a buyer and an audience for, if it's quality, if it's like, if it's, you put your heart into it, it's sincere, it's genuine. There's always going to be people that want
You
to
know how you build audience though? Starting.
starting
You start from zero.
start from zero.
Everybody starts let's think about YouTube. Everybody starts a YouTube channel as a
It's
zero.
zero. It's an equal playing field, 100%.
And you build it up and you build that
Everybody's been at 10
audience.
followers. Everybody's been at 20 followers. Everybody's been at 30 followers. Everybody's been at 15 followers. So, like, it's just
Yeah.
starting. It's just starting. So, it's no shame in starting. What you should be ashamed of is not starting. Like, what's going on. So I take my own advice. These are, we're always, if you're not being challenged, you should never be at an age where you're not being challenged anymore. I love to see older people we celebrate older people graduating from college, like 70 and
Yeah.
85, still challenging themselves, still going for the streams, still working out, still, doing things they love to do, or
Finding love and doing all kind of
by
stuff.
getting
Yeah.
married and all of that, because they're never stopping. They never stop going towards something that they want.
They never give up.
They never give up. They never give up. So it's admirable, is what it is. And so if they can do it, so can we. So can we.
Period.
Period. And I'm taking my own advice.
You same. I'm listen. How many years one day when we actually get to the tippity top, when we really talk about the journey. It's the journey. When we really talk about it and talk about how much work we have put in since freaking college, really. I've been like doing stuff really just out here, putting ourselves out here.
Listen, here's what I will say, though. I will say that the question is, 3 years from now, doing what you're doing, how will you feel? If you're
Yeah.
still in the same place, how will I feel? Are you going to be content? You going to be happy? Or are you going to be like, dang, if I had started that today, 3 years later, man, my life would be totally different.
And let me tell you something, that someone who took a decade to get an idea off the ground. I was talking to Tarrah about this podcast I did before podcasts were podcasts. It was like maybe 1, 2 at max podcasts on the airwaves. Radio was still big. And I was like, I want to do a podcast. So you just take your time. I had to talk myself out of being like, it's too late. You don't want to do it. Blah, blah, blah. And you just have to do it. And even if you don't want to think about it in the 3-year mark, which is not long, 3 years has gone by like that. Think about, we were just in the pandemic and now we're going into 2025 in 6 months, almost. Think about the fact that when January 1st starts, I heard this woman said this. I can't remember her name, and she said December 31st is going to come. whether you have changed or
Whether you
not done anything or
or
not.
not, it's coming.
It's gonna come.
Time is gonna pass either way.
It's going to happen.
It's like I gotta go to school for 4 years. Yeah, whether you go to school or not, prayerfully, you'll still be here in 4 years. So you might as well do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen when you wake up on January 1st feeling the way you feel, and then go to bed on December 30th and wake up on December 31st and still feel the same way that you felt?
Mm-hmm.
Why not change that? Take that 12 months to change the way that you feel and change the trajectory of your path or whatever. There's a lot of autonomy that you can have and still be believers. You can still like say, I want to do these things. There are things I don't want to do and put in the work. We're not, I like to call them NPCs in games, non-playable characters. You're not just an NPC. This is your life. You're the main character. Play the role. Just do it.
Yeah. It's really is a journey of baby steps. You know?
Baby, that's it. It's nobody wakes up and take a giant leap. You may take a giant leap of faith to take the baby step,
To take a baby step.
but it's nobody wakes up Beyonce.
Yeah.
Nobody wakes up Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Nobody wakes up Issa Rae. Nobody wakes up these people. They did things to curate the life and to lead the path into the trajectory of where they wanted to go. And so you have to be willing to put in that work. And honestly, yeah, like you said, look like a fool for a little bit because you're going
For
to
a
look
little
like a
bit.
fool. You
Or
really will.
like people are gonna laugh at you first.
People are going to be like, what the heck are you doing?
They're gonna laugh at you first.
They're
And you
gonna
gotta
they're
be
all gonna laugh
that's
at you like Carrie.
yeah, they're gonna laugh at you first, and that's part of the process of becoming, you know? Like part of the process of becoming. So I love the baby step scenario because I have nieces and nephews. Have you ever chased a baby when they got something in their hand? Them things add up. Them feet be moving. And it's like, whoa, you're actually moving fast. So they are baby steps, but put together back to back, you are making some progress. And
Mm,
back in the day when they built structures, they used to build it brick by brick.
yeah,
Like literally brick on top of brick and to build something. And their hands touch every brick. And so that's just part of the process. And if we're willing to put like every piece of content is a brick, you know, every performance is a brick, everything, every song we write or every play we write or every book we write or every ebook we write is a brick. And then one day we're gonna step back and say, wow, that's what a beautiful structure that we've built.
yeah.
Now
Thank
somebody can come in my home and be warm and get a meal and, have an experience because I put the time and the sacrifice and the work in to build something that's going to be a blessing to other people. And that's what it's really about.
Man, talk about it. I just want to do this to be a blessing to others. I want to be able to put my foot in the door to keep it open for
Yeah.
other people to come in behind me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I honestly feel like the more you can't lose putting people on. People feel like, oh, when you put people on it's a danger to your spot or whatever, but I don't feel that way. I feel like you never will lose with putting people on. You just bring in, the people that really want to do it. This is not to say, just bring in people who really are serious about it, but yeah, you'll never lose by offering the opportunity for someone who was in your footsteps to do what you are now doing for sure. Yeah, great conversation. We'll close out with our quote of the day. It is, life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you have to keep moving. That is Albert Einstein. So, we are closing this out with that. Just keep moving, keep swimming, keep swimming. You know where to find us. We are the same on all socials. If you're watching this and you have some pull at TikTok, please. They banned our TikTok account, and I have no idea why. This is the second. We're going to actually to the third week about this happening. We have gotten no strikes. Nothing has happened. I really do not understand why they would ban an account with all of 50 followers and no vulgar videos ever posted, ever. So, I want to say on TikTok, but we're not, because if you go, we're banned. But you can find us on Instagram at Funny Podcast. That's FUNIPODCAST. You'll find it in the description box below. We are also on YouTube. That is Friendship University Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow, give us your comments. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. You can also find us at the Gmail, where you can send information about your friends if you want us to read anything. Give shout outs. We do friendship shout outs. Friendship call outs if you really just want to talk about it with us. That's Friendship University Podcast at gmail.com. Again, you'll find it in the description box below. We'll also have Tarrah's information in the description box below. And yeah, any final words, Tarrah, before we let the people go?
Just do it.
Nike check. If you want to cut that check, you know where to find us. This is another episode of the Friendship University Podcast, and we out. Bye.